The bald truth is this. That sucked. Boy, that game sucked. Wow, from the first inning, from the first pitch, I didn't think it was. This is not a good fielding team. Altuve lines one to right field, and Castellanos comes on and makes another diving, sliding catch, and it's like, oh crap! I didn't think it was over at that point, but I was like,
that helped me and my wife get into a fight.
Did it?
Well, that's one of the reasons we lost was
you two got in a fight.
There was no nachos yesterday, so.
Wait.
There's an L, and I didn't.
How could there be nachos in a 7-0 loss?
I said there weren't.
I know.
Well, maybe there was in game 2.
Oh.
Maybe there was in the rainout day, and does this carry over? Is this a carryover? Or
everybody thought Pump It Up was a carryover.
No, let me tell you, this loss was on the listeners.
It's on the listeners.
Who didn't had a terrible Pump It Up yesterday.
Terrible.
And I felt I knew this game was over whenever Pump It Up was over. I was like, wow, that's an L. Go ahead and unload everything on the other side. But yeah, I didn't play disc golf yesterday either at TC Jester, which is kind of on me.
Do you think you deserve this now?
Well, it was raining. I mean, it was all muddy. I can't play in that kind of condition. And I just don't. I mean, maybe if I had played, Lance wouldn't have been spinning balls up there with hanging curveballs in the middle of the plate. It's as bad as he's pitched and maybe ever. First time in the history. Why does it seem like every Astros game, it's the first time in the history that something has happened?
Yeah, no.
18 innings and only one run was scored in 18 innings. First time in history, 2 teams have gone scoreless past 16 innings. First time in history of pitchers giving up 5 home runs in a World Series, or in a postseason game.
Yeah.
First time in the history of baseball goes back to when there were dragons. It goes back to when the Targaryens ruled the world. Baseball was played when the Targaryens, were in charge, and
first
yet
time ever.
It's the first time ever. 5, because usually you're not still in the game.
And then 1,000 home runs. It hits on the Astros.
A cacophony of home runs. And I mean, they were shots, dude. They were prodigious.
I thought they were going to get to like 1,100 last night.
So you 100% saw the tipping video, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it was tweeted close to 100 billion times.
Yeah.
I made a comment about somebody said something about Lance might be tipping his pitches after the first home run. I'm like, or like John Smoltz literally told you on the at-bat.
Exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, he's thrown one fastball to left-hand hitters, so I got a feeling Harper may be sitting on a curveball up here.
Boom!
Curveball, bang! Home run, like Smoltz, you wizard.
Smoltz
really
called it.
I mean, he called it. But the big picture is that Lance McCullers obviously did not mix up his scouting report. So he didn't mix up his tendencies. He didn't try to self-scout, I don't think, because obviously the Phillies were on his pitches. But, Bryce Harper, after his home run, went and told Brome, he went and told him something. I mean, Bohm, he went and whispered something to him. And, it was a pitch later, and he's jacking it out of the yard. I mean, a shot. And there's a belief on Twitter, a guy who has the videos of Lance's pitches. He showed 2 different pitches. One where a leg kick is the glove placement and the leg kick are different in one video, and then right next to it is another video where it's different than that leg kicking.
Yeah.
So there's a belief that Lance was tipping his pitches. John Smoltz started talking about it on the air because this is not something. When the Astros got to Yu Darvish, he was tipping his pitches. And for the uninitiated, tipping pitches and reading tip pitches, there's nothing illegal about it. There's nothing cheating. It's not even a discussion. It's like a tell at a poker table. That's all it is. Or sometime defensive lineman will look at where the weight on an offensive lineman's inside foot or outside foot. It's just looking at a player's tells. There is a belief that Lance was showing something. There was something going on. I think it was a twofold. Number one, he's gotten into a rut of his approaches are too similar. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to break tendency, or they're going to beat him up. And John Smoltz was saying that early in the game. He's going to have to throw fastballs at some point to Kyle Bryce Harper, because he's a great breaking ball pitcher, and he's going to be sitting on breaking ball. Bang! Home run, like, holy crap, 2-0. That was part of it. But there is video showing that Lance McCullers, some of his deliveries were a little bit different. So there's a good chance that he was tipping his pitches because, as I mentioned, Harper's over there whispering something to Bohm, and Bohm hits a home run. So It's just two, and then Dusty just let that thing go. And it's not like Lance had given up 4 runs on 3 hits. It's just like one was a base hit, 2 were home runs, then it turned into 3 home runs, 4 home runs, 5 home runs. Before you know it, 7 runs, 5 home runs. We saw Urquidy. So Urquidy is still – there is no Amber Alert on Urquidy. He is still here.
Stanek was out there. Urquidy was out there.
Now, I don't know if Hunter Brown still plays for the Astros.
Yes, he does.
Are you sure?
He still does.
When's the last time you saw him?
Apparently, Dusty, he's not old enough.
Yesterday was an Urquidy. And a lot of people said, leave Lance out there and let him suffer the consequences of his horrific performance. Bury him in Utah and El Paso. Don't bury him in the H. And people were so mad at Lance McCullers, but don't just leave him out there. I don't care if it's 5-0.
What do you mean? You shouldn't have left him out there after the second inning, after the second home run. He should have. You know what? To me, there was no urgency last night. None. I mean,
no, there really wasn't.
Now it looks that way because you're not hitting and you're giving up home runs and the crowd is crazy and you're just downtrodden. You're downtrodden because you're taking the brunt of everything. Everything. Come up with a hit with first and third. I mean, come up with and Lance gives up 2 bombs, or at least after the third one, you go, that's all. That's it.
The third one should have been.
That's it.
At 4-0, it should have been lights out.
You got 100 pitchers in the bullpen that you've just had 2 days off. You got guys that you haven't used, Hunter Brown and Urquidy, in a month.
Don't tell me about burning up the bullpen. I don't want to hear that. You've got literally Urquidy could come out and give you 4 innings.
They threw 5 pitchers yesterday, and they won 7-0. Burn the bullpen. You got to win games. There's only 4 games left. I don't give a rat's to everybody. I don't care if your arm falls off. This is the World Series.
Well, and this is apologies, Gary, but this is what people are getting upset with is that it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to let Justin Verlander. He had 1 bad inning. I'm going to let him. The 3 were great. He's a Cy Young Award winner. I'm going to let him work through it and get through the 5th. Well, he gives up runs in the 5th, too. Most managers in the World Series err on the caution of aggressiveness, especially if they have a pitching staff, because they may just say, you know what, Lance doesn't have it, or Lance may be tipping pitches. Because people are saying that on Twitter. In the first inning, there was a question, especially after Harper. Now, I know Dusty's not watching TV and the Astros aren't, you can't relay messages from TV. But if that's the case, then maybe you say, okay, you know what, I'm with you. After the 3rd home run and it's 4-0, you just say,
that's it.
It's not Lance's night. He's hanging his curveball. Maybe, it's just not his night. Maybe they have something on him. Because getting tip pitches is part of baseball. The Astros have got to think they might have something on Lance. Go to Hunter. Go to Urquidy. You got dudes who this is what they do. You got a huge advantage because you have this.
And you got Garcia. I mean, it's unbelievable. You got such
but the offense didn't do anything. It wasn't going to matter. But you could have been more aggressive.
But when it's 7, it's a big difference down 4-0, and now you got 2 runners on. Now all of a sudden you're 1 swing away from a 1-run game.
Yeah.
When it's 7-0. It seems like it's existential. Nothing matters. It just doesn't matter anymore, and it didn't matter anymore. So listen. No, there's got to be more urgency, and especially now. There's 4 games left in this thing. You got to. It's all hands on deck, and it's I don't give a rat's. You're not performing. Get out. Beat it. What is Mancini doing up at late in the game? Why the hell is he hitting for Hensley, who actually got a hit in this game?
Well, game was over. I think it was just a matter of you wanted to see if he could shake something.
Actually hit a ball.
Yeah, I mean because I don't know. It was. I mean Hensley did get a hit.
Hensley did get a hit.
Not a lot of Astros got hits.
No.
The over-under was 8.5 hits for the Astros. You know where they ended up?
8?
5. 5 hits.
Yeah, they got and what the Phillies only had 7, right?
5 hits against non-leveraged relievers.
Yeah, I mean they only had 7. 5 of them were home runs.
Yeah,
that was. I don't know if it had finished that way, but that was what it is. Listen, I'm not sure that McCullers starts Game 7. You know what? Urquidy should start Game 7.
To me, it was just so frustrating, and I get it, but if you would have just gone Javier, stayed the same thing that you had previously, just gone Javier, who's been better than Lance McCullers.
Well, you know what? I'm glad Javier's on the mound tonight, though.
When I am now,
You need him now.
But I
You
would
need
have
him
loved
now.
him yesterday, and then to try to take the swing game. But now Javier's in a must win. It's 6-1, half dozen out of the other. You're still getting the two pitchers. What's the timing? It just means it's a different stress level potentially for Astros fans and for the team. But
Listen,
I'm glad Javier is on the bump
Yes.
tonight. It does, if they're able to get to a Game 7, which my gosh, this is going to be another Braves series where you don't even get to a Game 7 because it's really frustrating. I didn't realize it's the second biggest win differential. John Smoltz called it the most improbable World Series win ever.
And that one was in 1906.
Yeah,
in
and
modern history, this is the biggest.
It's not close.
The other one was
1934. The other one was in the 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
And this is in the modern history. There's never been anything like this.
No, this is the most lopsided it's been.
But the Astros played in a weak division. The Phillies played in a tough division. That accounts for some of it.
Y'all acting like we had a chance if the bullpen came in. We scored 0 runs. That's the main problem. That's not it.
No,
That's
we
not
know
what we're
that.
talking about.
No.
We're talking about some urgency in the World Series. You got to act like this is not. I thought Chandler Rome had a wonderful tweet. He said, "This is like Dusty's managing like this is a June game at a getaway day." No. This is the World Series. Yeah. Every single game, every pitch, every out matters. So you got to act like you got to manage, you got to play, you got to pitch.
Can't worry about
everything.
It just can't be about hurting people's feelings or just you can't approach this like, well, that's the problem for me with going Lance over Javier. Javier's a better pitcher this year. Javier's better right now. Lance had a good game against Seattle. We know that, but Javier has done it all year long. Javier pitched ahead of Lance last time with the rain. It was the rain out, and they flipped spots. Why not keep it that way? Javier's the better pitcher this year. I know that Lance has done so much, and I know that stuff, and I know Dusty's down with the veterans, and I get all that stuff, but you got to just do what's best for the team. Justin Verlander, I was okay with him keeping it in there, but I might have been wrong. I mean, obviously in hindsight I'm wrong, but even at the time, I think Dusty wanted to say, well, let's get him a win. If he can get through it, it's 5-3. He had 3 great innings. Let's get Justin Verlander the win. Hey, A.J. Hinch went and got, to be consistent about this, A.J. Hinch went and tried to be aggressive and went and got Zach Greinke when we all felt like the pitch count was low. So that wasn't a manager trying to be aggressive, and it came back to haunt him. But McCullers just didn't have – he did have some wipeout strikeout stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he was leaving his breaking. I mean, that's as bad as Lance McCullers was throwing the breaking pitch.
He put it in the zone.
Everything was up in the middle.
And they showed the 5 home runs where the ball was, and all of them were over
They're in kill
the
zones.
heart of the plate.
Everything was in a kill zone.
Yep.